So empathy is a very useful tool. It's the ability of recognizing other people's emotions and respond to those feelings in a manner that promotes friendship and cooperation. It's built into us as a mechanism for survival, and it's the very foundation of society as we know it. But if this ability isn't managed properly, it becomes the root of your mental health problems. Because you can't care about everything and everyone all the time. Your ability to care is limited, and your depression is a result of that. You drain yourself of emotional energy until the point your body enters into an apathy phase in order to protect itself, which is one of the main directives of the brain to save energy. So it becomes crucial to learn to manage on what you spend your emotional energy in order to avoid depressive episodes, and in order to invest only on the things that you get returned back. With this, the same rules for your wallet also apply to your emotions. If you empathize with everything and everyone around you, you will be left with none for yourself, like that push you need to get through the boring or tough parts of your day, or the energy you need to invest with the people you want to keep in your life, or the goals you want for yourself. If you leave yourself with nothing left in the tank, you just become unresponsive to the people who matter to you, making them feeling disconnected from you, leading you into a life of never having energy to invest on the things you want for yourself. To avoid this result, it becomes very important to have defined boundaries for you and others. Like knowing that you caring doesn't make a difference, only action does. And if you aren't willing to do anything about it, which is fine, plenty of people do that already, my advice is do what's best for you. But those feelings just become wasted energy. And the less you get back, the closer you become to depression. And the lack of action doesn't make you any better or worse than other people, but it also doesn't add to your life. It doesn't push you to a path out of depression. But it's important that you know that caring about everything and everyone won't make others like you more, just more useful. It won't lessen your worries, nor make you happier, because happiness doesn't happen unless you consciously invest in it. And for that, you need to learn to save energy to invest in that. It's really a matter of self-love here. But another way that empathy can become a problem is that empathy works both ways, meaning the more you empathize with someone, the more the way they think gets transmitted into you. Their reactions, their habits, all of it. And if most people around you are always sad, angry, or confused, no matter what happens around them, you will slowly become the same as them. You copy those patterns via empathetic response. Join that with the propensity for depression. You will keep going in and out of depression without knowing why. I'm not saying you should leave them for good. That is your choice. But you also don't need to empathize with every mood change they have. Although society pushes you to care and be nice to others, you really don't have to drag yourself miserable to be that way. It's fine if you don't. But about that, I have a video here. But when you don't know to turn off and on your empathy, a lot of times you end up thinking and feeling things that don't come from you. You start going on paths that you don't have motivation to continue, and you chase goals that in reality are just what others expect you, not what you want. By you not defining which are your own feelings, there can be emotional connections that do you more harm than good. Like for example, let's say you want to follow music but your parents want you to be a doctor. Because you like them, you obey to their wishes. But if it isn't what you want, that also makes it much harder for you to excel in that area. And if it's too difficult for you, you become more prone to be less motivated and less focused. And that might be why you don't feel like you aren't where you should be, thus making your life into an endless struggle. Because you refuse to acknowledge that the path you want to take might disappoint others around you. And knowing where your priorities are and on what you should emotionally invest helps you find your path. That decides if you're happy with your life or not. And you can only reach these conclusions once you shut off your empathetic response. Once you stay there sorting what are your own feelings and other people's feelings. Take it from someone who's very sensible to other people's emotions via childhood trauma and didn't realize that I was trying to please others more than making myself happy. And I only realized that once I learned to organize which feelings were my own and which came from others. That's how empathy works. And this is the truth about us, depressed people. We don't have the energy to care about everything and everyone. And if you don't learn to manage that, there's also no way out of this. But this also opens up a very good trait for relationships, which I see so many people lacking. If you can control where you invest your emotional energy, that means you can maintain emotional stability for your partner, because you aren't wasting everything out there. And this is especially important for men, because emotions take more time to come to us. So your empathetic response becomes much faster for your partner, making it so much easier to keep the relationship alive without speaking or asking for anything. And not just your partner, but the people you truly want to keep in your life, and for the things that move you forward in life. But also, empathy is a very useful tool to improve your life greatly. Let's say you are at some counter of a store and you get bad service. Instead of getting mad and getting your day ruined by that person, you can empathize with that person in order to understand them, that their life isn't pleasant or ideal, and their attitude isn't that unjustified, taking away your reason to be mad and keeping you away from those negative feelings which push you into depression, making your overall day better, right? Where you don't waste energy getting mad about something that doesn't matter whether you are right or wrong. But of course, that can only happen once you learn to control your emotional energy. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't care about anyone but yourself. I'm saying you should care by choice in order to improve your life and everyone's around you. Because if you have a consistent mood, that motivates others to want to be with you. Another example I can give you about empathy, it's about customer service and sales. So when some customer comes to complain and you agree with them and behave accordingly, that just surprises the customer because they expected a confrontation, which is why a lot of people come to complain already mad without anyone saying anything. But by doing that, you change the situation of you against him to you and him against the problem, making the solution much easier to find while you build a better relationship with that customer, helping you making more sales, making it easier for you to excel while wasting less energy than required. And this is one of many ways which empathy can improve your life by 10x. So let's review it a bit, because I know I'm a bit complicated. So first is to accept that you are what you are, and what you need is more important than what others need. And second is to isolate your feelings from other people's feelings and your goals and other people's expectations of you. And third is to train where and when you should be emotionally receptive. And the better you train this ability, the better your depression will become, because you aren't emotionally draining yourself anymore and have enough leftover energy in order to heal yourself from this depression and hopefully never have to come back to this depression, making your relationships better and serving yourself a better life, which is all I intend to do with this video. But life isn't that simple, of course. There's plenty more you need to do in order to become depression free. So subscribe, because I understand it and experienced it the same way as you do and got out of it.